Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CNBC-TV18 and HCLTech present the AI Leadership Mixer. As the India AI Impact Summit unfolds, this private reception serves as a sanctuary for high-level dialogue, a space where policy meets practice and where the leaders shaping India's future connect. Let's begin this evening with a welcome address by Mr. Sandeep Kumar Saxena, Chief Growth Officer, Growth Markets 2 at HCLTech.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for coming here this evening with us. My name is Sandeep Kumar Saxena, and I am the Chief Growth Officer for Growth Markets 2, which is India, Middle East, and some other growing countries across the world. India is a very strategic market for us. I've been based in London for the last 24 years, and this April I am moving to Mumbai to accelerate our business in India. From an HCLTech perspective, it is about AI products, our experience in global services, putting them together to what we call as AI solutions. I know some of you would have been at the AI Impact, and if you would have visited our booth, if not, there is still 2 days, 4.5, to go and see the solutions for yourself. This evening, we have some panel discussions, but more importantly, it is about relaxing, networking with us, and hence you have some nice Indian classical music for you to enjoy. So please, welcome once again, enjoy the evening, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
At HCLTech, we provide technology services and solutions for some of the world's biggest companies. Yep, those ones, and loads more like them. By bringing together the best of technology with our people, we deliver an industry-leading portfolio that spans AI, digital, engineering, cloud, and software. All that good stuff. But it's not just what we do, it's how we do it. We're grounded in what we like to call the art of the possible, which is our poetic way of saying that we make sure you can deploy practical and transformational technology solutions at speed and scale. This is guided by 4 decades of our heritage in engineering. That's a lot of evolving technology. This rich experience helps us to continually adapt and create new tech services and solutions that are fundamentally intelligent, efficient, and business aligned, delivered by our people who are our true differentiators, not just in numbers, but in their ability to create value beyond the expected. And we have a lot of great people in a lot of different places. They collaborate and co-innovate round the clock around the world, day in and day out, working for new disruptors, as well as established Global 2000 companies. From financial services and manufacturing to retail and technology, from life sciences and healthcare to telecom and media and more, across every industry. As a partner of choice for these Global 2000 companies, we are consistently recognized by industry analysts for delivering transformative and sustainable business outcomes. We're imaginative and realistic, creative and pragmatic. Most importantly, we're passionate. Passionate about delivering smart solutions that deliver business outcomes. Passionate about cutting costs and the cutting edge. Passionate about our clients, our people, our communities, and our planet. And that's how we're supercharging progress.
Now that we've set the tone for the evening, while policy provides the roadmap, execution at the India scale requires a blend of visionary leadership and robust infrastructure. Our next session explores how we can build an AI infrastructure that is secure, reliable, and responsible. To moderate this conversation, please welcome Ashmit Kumar, editor, CNBC-TV18. And joining him on the panel, please welcome Mr. C. Vijay Kumar, CEO and Managing Director, HCLTech. Mike Haley, VP Research and Generative AI Development, Autodesk. And we also have Mr. Jay Chaudhary, CEO, Chairman and Founder, Zscaler Inc. Over to you, Ashmit.
So on that note, in fact, I'd like to thank both of our panelists for joining us, Mr. Vijay Kumar, Mr. Haley.
Thank you.
And speaking of panelists, I'm given to understand that Mr. Jay Chaudhary is just a few moments away. He'll be joining us shortly as well. So let's begin this conversation. Action-packed week, we're nearing the end of it. Mr. Vijay Kumar, the first question I want to put across to you, one question that is there across most boardrooms is, how do I use AI? How do I secure it? And how do I make money from it? By the end of this week, are you any closer to an answer?
That's the answer we've been all searching for the last 2 years. So as you rightly pointed out, the real challenge in AI is the first mile and the last mile, which is really to get all the compliance, security, privacy, all those issues sorted out, and you get it inside your enterprise. Then you do a lot of pilots, and then really the last mile is how do you really scale and deliver the right business outcomes. I don't think, this summit itself, of course, it's been a fantastic event, but I don't think we heard anything anybody has truly figured out. How do you really get the value? So in fact, our whole message was AI is easy, the impact is hard. I think it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a lot of learnings, a lot of first principles based, redesigning the processes, cleaning up, rationalizing the data modernization. And also it's a lot of people tend to think of this like a technology project, which is only a very small part of this AI-led transformation. So I think that realization is more and more coming. I guess we will soon get a little more strong proof points of this.
Thank you for that, Mr. Vijay Kumar. And on that note, let me come in to welcome Mr. Jay Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, thank you so much for taking our time. We were just talking about how hectic this week has been for all of the panelists here, as well as for the members of the audience. Mr. Chaudhary, thank you once again for being a part of this. The one question that I just wanted to ask is that, and what Mr. Vijay Kumar had been alluding to, is that the question of have we figured out how to use AI to secure it and then to make money from it? Is that a question that we've answered? The answer is that is a bit of an unknown. Is that an unknown that one needs to fear, or perhaps one needs to build upon?
The answers are not exactly clear, but any technology that delivers business value can be monetized, especially in the enterprise space. It can be. In the consumer space, it gets tricky. So we don't have all the answers, but I do believe that enterprises will pay money.
Same question for you, Mr. Haley. Any answers that you have for us?
Yeah, so I agree with my two co-panelists, but I have a specific perspective here. You know, if you compare what's happening with AI to what happened 15 years ago with cloud, right? When cloud technology arrived, it arrived in one foul swoop. Over 1 year, it arrived, right? We went from no really cloud to figuring out how to do cloud, how to elastically scale, how to do all of these things. It wasn't perfect, but the technology was sorted out. The difference with AI is we're only just beginning this journey, right? People tend to think that we've built the AI stuff now, and now we have to figure out it's going to stay what it is now, and now we can figure out what it is. It's not. It's going to continue to change. So I agree. This is why I agree with my two co-panelists, is because what we have to do is have a different kind of mindset now. We have to look for value. We have to look for ROI constantly, but we have to do it in a space that's constantly changing. And this, I think, is the real reason that this is going to take us a while. The challenges, we don't even know the challenges we're going to see 2 years from now.
Right. So I do agree. But that doesn't mean it can't be monetized. That means how we monetize, how we package will change fairly rapidly, faster than other technologies, just like AI has moved faster than any other technology. All right? But keep focus on enterprises pay for value to be delivered.
Yep.
If we deliver value, this will happen.
And you have to be delivering value if you're going to pay for those GPUs anyway. So, yeah.
Right.
Mr. Vijay Kumar, let me come to you. With these unknowns, is it difficult to have that quarterly conversation when you need to show ROI on these AI spends? How difficult is that? How challenging is that?
I think today still the spend on AI from the enterprises are very modest. It's not that people have, I mean, there are some outliers, but generally everybody is just testing waters. Nobody's gone very big from the enterprises on adopting AI at scale. So to that extent, it's more of, it's a discovery process. I think everybody is learning it, and if the leader of the organization or the functional leader is clear, I mean, he needs to visualize things with what does he want to achieve. Is it like employee experience, or is it like a revenue momentum, or is it just efficiency? If you have that clarity, then I think you can drive a certain direction which can lead to the right outcomes.
Mr. Chaudhary wants to come.
I agree with CBK. CIOs and CDIOs are looking for use cases. And when they find meaningful use cases, the CEO and leadership support it big time. So adoption is beginning to happen. The interesting thing is that if a CIO or CDIO feels like they haven't found something, they feel like they will be left behind. So there's a strong desire for them to move and find a use case. But it is still early stage, overall adoption. On the cyber side of it, there's a fair amount of interest and actually concern. Sometimes they wonder, if I go big, will I create cyber issues? So the budgets for cyber, for AI, are happening. And one of the logic they look at is, if I spend $100 on an AI project, would I spend $4 or $5 for security of it? The answer ends up being yes.
Mr. Haley, let me come to you on that question of cybersecurity. The question that Mr. Chaudhary has put across, is that a conversation that increasingly you're having in terms of a higher spend being budgeted for security? And if yes, is that spend then translating into some of the safety measures that you would ideally have wanted?
Yeah. So, I can speak in our industries. So the industries we serve, manufacturing, construction, infrastructure, media, all of those industries are ones that are typically very concerned about, most industries are concerned about security, but they're very concerned about security, especially if it's, government facilities or military facilities, these kinds of things. So I actually think this is independent to some degree from AI. I have seen this has been increasing for the last 15 years, gradually gradually. As things move more to the cloud, as things are more digital, your risk is greater because your digital footprint is larger. And the world of cybersecurity, just technically, is becoming far more advanced, right, than it was 15 years ago. So, I mean, I can tell you, even with inside Autodesk, I mean, our security department, our trust department has grown probably several orders of magnitude, even, you know, in these last 15 years. It has to, right? So you know, when you look at the industries we're serving, they're asking us, they're constantly coming to us saying, look, you have to provide our baseline expectations, or we want these federated kind of security, we want proper auditing, we want proof points, we want standards, we want all of this. Their level of sophistication and their own understanding of what cybersecurity is also increasing at the same time. So their demands are more.
I can tell that'll be music to Mr. J. Chaudhry's ears in terms of companies accounting for higher security spends. But let me address one question that has come up repeatedly in the course of the conversations here. And this, Mr. Vijay Kumar, is aimed at you. When you look at this entire conversation move towards, companies are telling us, hyperscalers are telling us, is that the way forward is more and more millions and millions of agents. That's the way forward, which in turn then sparks the debate about what that translates into disruption for L1 tasks, for low skill, low complexity tasks. From the conversations, at least, that we've been having, we're given to understand that these fears are overstated. But then the answer to that is, of course, reskilling. Do we have the bandwidth to reskill at that level? An entire population, do we have that bandwidth? Do we have that ability?
It's the biggest challenge that all of us face, right? Because a lot of work that people at the entry level are doing can be very, very easily automated. Not even using generative AI, with good machine learning, good AI solutions, you can eliminate them. Now, which is fine, then you have a challenge of trying to find the right roles for the people whose roles have got eliminated. But then these are the people who get trained to do the next level work. Right. So if you no longer have these roles, how do you get people who can really play at the second and third tier? Right? So different techniques are being adopted, like simulations and all of that, but it's a big industry-wide challenge.
Shireen, earlier this afternoon, had a very engaging conversation with Dario. And that is, of course, February 4th, when they announced those plugins. That's what caused that fear psychosis that led to assessments like SaaSpocalypse, which many have now gone to say that it's highly overdone. But what Dario had to say, interestingly, is that, look, we're only providing building blocks. And that these are Lego blocks for the companies like the IT industry, which have deep understanding of context to actually build over. Is that a similar view that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think enterprises are very complex. So, fortunately, we have been working with a lot of enterprises for decades. So our understanding of their landscape and where the skeletons are, all of that is very profound. And that is the foundation on which you can really apply any new technology. Even if you want to modernize, eliminate, everything really depends on your understanding of the environment. Because you don't want to break things, you don't want to create further risks. There are compliance issues, a lot of them are regulated industries. So I think that's why there is a lot of care people are taking before they jump into something.
And if you're looking at building blocks, what do you make of some of the recent launches that we've seen from Indian startups, from about Indian models? Will they act as the necessary Lego blocks that you're looking for?
I think it's definitely very, very inspiring to see how some of the solutions and some of the models have scaled up, including what we saw today. But they're only going to address a need which, at least today, it's being addressed by several other model providers. It's not really filling a completely new need which will help adoption or something. But it's good. India has a sovereign model. I'm sure it will be much more competitive when you really want to do a business case. And it's going to be very, very useful in the Indian context. A lot of Indian enterprises, customer interactions, all of that would dramatically benefit from this.
Mr. Haley, let me take that across to you. The one message that was quite clear across the government leadership this morning was that we want you to make in India for the world. What they're saying is develop here, and if it works here at India with the scale that it has, it's bound to work everywhere else. That is an analogy that is a mantra that many companies follow. Can you give us a sense, when you talk of developing here, what are the strengths and perhaps one challenge that you face with the Indian market?
Right. Well, look, firstly, I think the thing I love about the Indian market, which I've always found, is that I think it's a highly adaptable market. I mean, India is a country all the way back through the outsourcing of 30 years ago, right? India tends to watch the world and sort of make itself available and look for opportunities naturally. And I mean, so much of nearly the majority of the tech growth in India has come from that attitude, So I see that attitude playing out again, even in my conversations I've had here this week. It's a sort of sense of, okay, well, what are the opportunities? What can we do? As a nation, I don't find you're locked into your ways of doing things. You're always open to trying something new, which I think is fantastic. And again, like I said, we're only in the beginning of this journey, right? So it requires that attitude that you can constantly learn and try out. I also think the educational infrastructure, you have a very young population in India. You have a great education system. I think that's what you need to feed this sort of thing. So I think that's there. What do I think is a challenge? Look, I mean, the reality is that there are other countries doing this, and it's a worldwide race, right? And we're all in that race kind of together. So how that plays out right now, none of us really know. I mean, we had a keynote this morning with a whole bunch of leaders that are building very large models. All of China's got large models too. Other countries are, Europe's building large models. So how that all plays out, I think, is interesting. I have no doubt that India is going to find its niche within that. And I think, like you said, you have a lot of very unique problems. And I think, especially from a global South perspective, I've always believed that the global South has a set of problems that are very different from the Western world. And you need solutions for that. I think you guys are perfectly positioned to be the leaders in developing that.
Mr. Chaudhary.
So I got some thoughts in this area. I think the push for India to develop its own models and AI technology is a good thing. But it's going to take some time. And the rest of the world is not sitting. Things are evolving at a very rapid pace. Take example of, say, air defense. Yes, India wants to have its indigenous built fighter jets. But we know we can't just catch up to the best of the best. So what do? We have a hybrid approach. They're locally built, and then we go and buy from outside. I think the practical reality is that India will develop some of the models, but will use some of the external models in many, many use cases, and the race will continue. That's fact of life.
And any challenges that you see in that journey?
Any challenges? I think for India to get into some of these large language models, foundational models, some concerted investments will be needed. Yes, the West is spending hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. China talks about a much lower number. I'm not sure I buy into that much lower numbers. I'm sure Chinese government can step up and spend. Here is X billion dollars spent to create some of the work. I think Indian government probably should step up and subsidize some of the development of some of these things, because there's no quick and easy answer. If there was a really that easy answer, don't you think some of these smart companies in Silicon Valley would have figured it out? So the reality is that it'll get easier and better, but it won't be that simple and inexpensive. So India should do a concerted effort to help in this area. Our IT minister talked about 38,000 GPUs as a starting point. That's a good starting point. But we should have some more ambitious effort to build some of these real serious models.
Well, to begin with, he's just assured that he'll add 20,000 more, but I get the drift of what you're saying, that there's a bigger, deeper push that's required. But that's a very valid point. Mr. Haley, the point that you made about India trying to be the second mover and then perhaps trying to learn from the best experiences was Mr. Chaudhary. He said that there's a deeper, more intense push required from the government. On that note, Mr. Vijay Kumar, let me come to you. The fact that we're slightly, when we talk of competition from countries like the US, when we look at countries like China, how do we then stay ahead of the curve, keeping in mind that there are some of these handicaps that we'll need to overcome on the way forward through 2026 and beyond?
I think we have to start focusing on value creation, right? While models, you can use foreign models, you can try and continue to advance the Indian models, but there are, as Mr. Chaudhary said, there are real limitations. I think the most important limitation is the GPU capacity. Without that, you can't train, and that's the basis of the entire AI trend. So I think we have to really focus on how do you really adopt it and deliver some real meaningful impact. I think because of the scale that we have in India, the ability of these solutions to really provide the right solutions and outcomes is quite strong. So if you work on adoption, I think that's really the magic. And I think it is here, it's in India, where the rubber hits the road in terms of AI adoption, right? Because the challenges are many, the volumes are high, the use cases are phenomenally complex. If we can solve the problems here, then you can solve problems anywhere else. So I think that is the biggest opportunity we have. I mean, others are going to take time, right? Models will evolve and there are constraints. So we'll have to work through those constraints. But we should be open to use global models and continue to make progress in how can they really deliver outcomes.
Can I add to that? Yes. So there's another part to infrastructure for AI that doesn't get talked about enough, and that's data itself. You need the compute, but if you don't have the data to train on, you don't have anything, right? Now, in the world we live in today, we tend to think a lot about language models all the time, and we think about data sets from the open internet. But the future of AI actually lies with vertical AIs, where you are training on industrial information, data that is not available on the internet, data that sits inside corporations. Choose whichever industry you want. It's across all the industries.
And that's the private data.
And that's the private AI, exactly.
Yes.
So now, if you want a country like India, a large country, to be able to produce amazing AIs, you need to figure out the data question as well. Now, no one company has enough data. This is the trick. So now you ask yourself the question, how do we create a pool of data in order to train these AIs? Now, if any one company tries to do that, like even if my company tried to do that, it would appear to be a conflict of interest, right? Because am I doing it for myself? Am I doing it for the country? This is where government has to step in, I believe, and say, hey, you know, we're gonna identify, say, a sector inside India where we want to have the best model. We're going to go and work with every corporation inside India and say, bring some of your data. Come and put it here. We will protect it for you. We will organize it. We will work with you. And then we will make it available back to you as a country, just like the compute, to train your AIs. And I think if you guys can get that right here, and by the way, I've had the same conversation with other ministers and leaders in other countries, and often the government, they don't quite understand this, they don't quite see the need for this, but I think this is an under-talked about attribute. I don't know, it sounds like you have a...
That's correct. I think what you're alluding to starts becoming domain-specific solutions. Because taking the entire data across the board is kind of already done at a broad level. You're not going to get it from private data. Let's talk about some examples. One area India is talking about is domain-specific models. Ashwini Vaishnavji, he talks about agriculture-specific stuff, which is very good because India's agriculture-related data, needs, seeds, fertilizers, monsoon rains is very India-specific. So India can create that kind of stuff very well. And there are other examples of that. In our domain of cybersecurity, it's actually very interesting to have cyber security, very specific models. Now, when we work with our customers, so we got about 60 million users who go through our cloud every day. They generate about 550 billion requests. And while we don't store data, we store metadata, that's logs. From day one, we have been using anonymized logs to find threats, even without AI. Now, being able to train AI models on that private data, but anonymized, to find threats or being able to predict the next threat becomes very exciting. So I'm a big believer of specialized domain-specific model with private data. That's what's going to help enterprises.
That's a very interesting insight. And speaking of smaller, specific models, that's in fact something that was also mentioned as a part of the latest economic survey that we had. It talked about how it's important for India to perhaps adopt the best practices and then look at how deploying them can be done in a more cost-efficient, energy-efficient manner. Mr. Vijay Kumar, taking off from, again, a cue that Mr. Chaudhary gave us, and also from what we heard from the IT Minister himself, there is a very clear focus. The government was clear when it talks about the AI Impact Summit. It wants to see impact. It wants to see answers and solutions at the ground, the solutions being democratized. He made references to agriculture, healthcare, education. At this point, is there enough financial incentive for the industry to go develop these solutions, knowing that the ROI on that may not be around the corner? Or does it require some support from the government in the form of perhaps some kind of viability gap funding?
I think government has definitely done several things to support, but I do think it's not adequate, right? Like for data centers, there is tax benefits, but tax benefits can be talked about only if data centers are going to make profits, right? So it's going to take a long time for the data centers to really, if you're really investing in greenfield data centers, and you need to have the utilization, capacity, all of that. So I think they can do a lot more. And even the point of data, I think, can the government create some kind of collaboration through the industry forums to enable some kind of data, support different verticals and things like that. They could be helpful. And even the upskilling also, I think there is definitely the intent, and the government wants to enable the right curriculum at the educational levels. And that's been done in areas like semiconductors, but I think we should follow through that on AI. That would also greatly help.
So regarding help, let me talk about two buckets. Agriculture models to be built, or for example, making AI app available for students. So call it AI tutor, so to speak. I think that's where government should spend some serious effort to really make it available to the masses. I think when it comes to business side of it, businesses are actually willing to pay. And probably there's less help needed, but government should make things more easy and a little bit less bureaucracy. And I think current government has done a very good job in this area. So I'm very excited in this area. What I worry about is, how do you put guardrails around AI so it doesn't get abused or misused? Those things are very important. I was just reading a news today, Microsoft Copilot. It got trained on something, but it wasn't supposed to pick up confidential data that is marked confidential. It just got trained on all of that stuff because the guardrails didn't work. We need more protection against some of those things so people can use AI with confidence.
Well, that's an interesting note to end this conversation on. In fact, just borrowing from, again, I make a reference, we've been speaking to the top tech leaders through the space of this week. And Shireen, just earlier today, when she was talking to Sam Altman, he made a very interesting reference that there is a need for global collaboration. The analogy that he drew was that we need a global watchdog like the nuclear watchdog. So that's clearly, there is consensus as to what form this consensus takes in the form of global collaboration. That's, of course, an answer that we'll hopefully unpack over the space of this coming year, 2026, and then beyond. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for joining us, for sharing their perspective and insight. Thank you once again.
A huge thank you to our panelists. Thank you, Ashmit. And now it's time to look at India's unique position in the global AI landscape and discuss India's AI moment. To take this conversation forward, please welcome Shireen Bhan, CNBC TV18's managing editor, and Mr. Abhishek Singh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Over to you, Shireen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I promised him he's clearly all talked out and he's clearly all stepped out. He's been doing the back and forth at Bharat Mandapam, not just for the last few days, but for the last several weeks and months to get all of this organized. So before we actually start the conversation, can we give him a big round of applause for what the government has been able to put together, the India AI Impact Summit. Congratulations, Mr. Singh. Relief?
Yeah, 2 more days to go.
2 more days to go. Are you counting down now?
Yeah. In fact, not only me, my whole team is counting down because some of them have not had any sleep for the last 2 months.
But, you know, and all of that tireless work and a lot of that effort that has gone into making this event happen, at the end of all of this, I think the message that the world takes away from what we saw today with the Prime Minister and all of the global tech leaders sharing space on the same stage is that India is ready to play.
That's right. In fact, the idea also was that. The idea was not to have just a talking shop. Idea was to show what India is capable of. Idea is to let the world notice India so that whenever people think about agentic AI or AI transformation services, they will think of India.
Well, speaking of thinking of India, when I was talking to the minister earlier yesterday, he said that India has to have its UPI moment in AI. What will India's UPI moment for AI be?
In fact, a lot of it was explained very beautifully by Sarvam yesterday when they made the presentation, when they made the 2-hour presentation about the Sarvam products and how it will pan out and the way they have architected their platform, the foundation model and the way they are open sourcing it. There are a lot of opportunities for various startups and companies to build on top of this model. And once they build it and once we have voice-enabled services in various sectors, you have the model, you have the compute, you have the data sets, you take all of it and build various applications in various sectors for education, an AI tutor, healthcare, AI doctor, and for so many solutions were showcased in the exhibition. The exhibition is there till day after tomorrow. In agriculture. So if every sector we start building use cases by leveraging the common elements which are built up, that will be the UPI moment for India.
That'll be the UPI moment for India. But I want to address some of the other issues that have come up during the course of the conversations. And I want you to react to what we heard from President Macron. He said that France has taken a decision to ban social media for children under the age of 15. We've already seen Australia go down that path. We've now seen Spain join hands with France. He made a call to the Prime Minister to say India should follow suit. Do you believe that that is something that we should consider? Are we considering it?
See, child safety is something that cannot be compromised. We all know the pitfalls. We all know the misuse that can happen. How you do it, whether you do it through only the legal means or whether you do it through a techno-legal means or regulation, what we have been doing so far is to adopt a techno-legal means or regulation where you have legal provisions which do not allow a certain kind of content to be shown for everyone, not only children. At the same time, if any platforms disseminates that and ensures that it goes to more and more people, they will have some liability to remove it. The recent directions of the government for taking down such content within 3 hours, then also directions with regard to labeling of AI-generated content, regulations with regard to deep fakes are in a step in that direction only. We did constitute an expert engagement group on child safety in the age of AI, and that group has given its recommendations. We'll definitely see it because sometimes just banning something and making it a crime may not always work, because if a child suppose uses parent's phone or something and goes on social media, what do you do it? You put him behind bars, or you try to regulate the platform so that they use AI to find out who the person is using. Today's AI is powerful enough to guess or determine whether a child is whether somebody is a child or a minor or an adult by looking at the image. If the AI can do that, then all the social media platforms should ensure that if somebody below the age of 13 should not have an Instagram account, he should not have. But we all know that 8 to 9 year kids are on Instagram and they are consuming reels and they are, but the platform, in spite of knowing that they are minors, they don't disable those accounts. So that's where regulation will come in. That's where responsible AI will come in. It will not only be done by law, it will be done by self-regulation to many ways, and it will also be done by having technical means to find out solutions for that and ensuring that they comply with it. Just like labeling of AI-generated content is there, then we can say that these platforms will have to determine whether somebody who is using these social media platforms is qualified to use it or not.
You know, the labeling norms that the government has just announced, much needed, but who is going to monitor this? Who's going to ensure that there is compliance?
There will be. The mechanisms will be defined. See, ultimately, the number of AI labs are limited. And the frontier AI labs, there are 6 frontier AI labs. So, and the ones which are coming up. So these labs, ultimately, people generate AI content by using these products. So it will be their responsibility that whenever any content is altered or generated by using their tools, they ensure that the labeling happens. So it can be done. There are technical solutions, and I'm sure experts will find solutions for these requirements.
You know, let me go back to the conversation that I was having with Sam Altman that Ashmit just referenced as well. And he said we need countries to come together and collaborate, and perhaps we need a watchdog like we had for the nuclear sector, the International Energy Atomic Agency. We need something like that to collaborate and regulate and put the guardrails in place as far as AI is concerned. Easier said than done?
Of course, but there have been some efforts. In fact, if Yoshua Bengio talked about the scientific panel report that he has come out with, in which he has identified the risks from AI. He has also identified the needs of scientific panel and the needs for creating a global body, whether that body will be like the International Energy Agency or UN will set up some organization in which all countries will be represented. That's a matter of detail. That is being deliberated. That is being deliberated in this conference as well. And it will be deliberated in the GPA's council meeting that's happening tomorrow. So I think the consensus is coming around the world that while there's a lot of potential about AI, but the fear about AI also needs to be regulated.
What is the role that governments can play in order to mitigate some of the risks that AI presents itself, especially in the context of jobs? Dario at Anthropic believes that there should be progressive taxation, especially specific to AI companies. What are the other ways that the government could help mitigate some of the risks that AI throws up?
Like one of the things that we were working on for the last 6 months and which was announced today at the New Delhi Frontier AI Commitments, the commitments are twofold. The first commitment says that every Frontier AI lab will disclose the way people are using AI. So, for example, every country, India will get to know that when people are using OpenAI or Gemini or Claude, for what purpose it is being used. How many people are using it for coding, how many people are using it for content creation. So once you know that which are the jobs that are going to be impacted. And then you can devise your strategy to deal with that. So that's a big step forward. And it is good to see that all 12 AI companies came forward to sign that. And happy to mention that towards the later part of the day, I got an email from Mistral that they are also joining it.
Well, that's good to know. And we were supposed to be joined by the Mistral CEO, but I think he's been caught up in the meeting that you've just come away from and probably stuck in traffic somewhere. But that's a problem that AI could hopefully solve sometime in the future. I
saw Jay Chaudhary. He was also in the same meeting.
He was in the same meeting.
He was able to beat the traffic.
He made it. The Indian jugaad comes in handy. But let me end by asking you, sir, what should we now expect in terms of next steps? You know, the summit is done, commitments have been made, investment commitments have been made by companies on what they intend to do in India, data centers and so on and so forth. But what should we now realistically expect in terms of next steps, the execution roadmap of the government?
See, like what this summit has done is raise the expectations. Raise the expectations from people within the government as also for citizens. So now we will need to really walk the talk and ensure that we build use cases and ensure AI diffusion happens. So AI will not benefit citizens by just building foundation models or getting GPUs or getting data set in one place. It will really happen if we identify problem statements with which AI can be used to solve citizens' issues. For example, information asymmetry is a big problem in governance. Very often, most people suffer because they don't just know what are the rules or what are the procedures, how to get a scholarship, how to get a pension, or how to avail a benefit. And this information asymmetry, with which some people have the information, they end up becoming middlemen, and they try to garner most of the benefit, and people suffer. With AI, we can democratize access to information. And if people get to know what is their right and how things are done, it will improve governance multifold. And that's just one example. Of course, there are multiple other examples in healthcare, education, research, science, which will lead to much benefits and will result in economic benefits in days to come. So our task is cut out. We'll need to actually get down to work, execute, and start appearing less on TV shows.
Start appearing less on TV shows. But thank you for showing up tonight. But let me end by asking you, there's so much talk around AI. How AI savvy are you? Do you have an agent that you talk to on a daily basis?
My screen time has totally changed. In fact, it was earlier used to be WhatsApp and Twitter and more. But now I think all the AI agents, whether Gemini or Grok or Claude, or OpenAI, ChatGPT, they have kind of dominate the time that you spend on the mobile phone.
But are you spending more time on the mobile phone or less?
Spending more, because you start checking things like the moment, like since the last 3 days, there's so much being written about the summit. So I would just go to Grok and it will say that,
including
show me the
University.
sentiment about the summit. And show me the positive and what are the negatives. So it saves so much of time. Otherwise, you'll have to scroll screens, and it kind of collates what you want to see within no time. It saves a lot of time, but it gives you good insights with regard to what is going on across.
Okay, so let me end then by asking you, for you, what was the hardest part of putting this summit together? And where do you feel that you could have done things differently?
A lot. In fact, the scale, I would say that maybe on hindsight, we didn't expect the scale will be so big. It became like at least 5 to 7x time more than what we were anticipating. Like we were thinking 35, 40,000, how many people were interested in an AI summit? But 250,000 people coming on a single day. And even on the first day, 70,000 people showing up when there were no star speakers was something which was eye-opening. So in fact, I was just discussing with my team that maybe next time around when we do anything like this, we should have a business days and we should have the public days. We should not mix together, because otherwise, when you have dignitaries from across the world, top CEOs and all, then you would want to regulate the number of people who are there in a particular geography so that meaningful conversations can take place. Otherwise, if we mix the two, then the volumes start dominating, and then we lose precious time of the greatest minds who had assembled here today. So maybe next time around we'll do 2 days of business days and 5 days of public days.
And may the next time be even bigger and better. Abhishek Singh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and your team. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Thank you so much. I know it's been a tough time, but we truly appreciate the fact that you could make it here this evening. I promised you we'll have some fun. We do have Aman and Ayan Ali Khan coming up. That's